Hi teachers, this is Peter Adams of the News Literacy Project bringing you another News Lit Bit. These are quick, casual explanations of pieces of information that can be used to drive news literacy learning in your classroom. Today I want to talk about just a few of the many pieces of misinformation that circulated around the August 2014 events in Ferguson, Missouri. The first two have to do with images that circulated on Facebook and other social media channels. On the left, you have an image of a young man with a wad of money gripped in his mouth, a gun pointed at the camera, liquor on the table, and a friend smoking something in the background. This was asserted by at least one user to be Michael Brown, to be an image of Michael Brown. Of course it is not, but it got picked up virally and shared very widely as evidence that Michael Brown was a particular kind of individual. And on the right, you have an actual racist rant, apparently on Facebook, by the woman pictured, who was asserted to be the wife of the Ferguson police chief. This was reported by a Twitter account at Your Anon News, which is always a red flag, an anonymous news source. This is not the wife of the Ferguson police chief. You can see a Twitter user, Matthew Keys, correcting that there below. But these images circulated broadly and had different responses with different audiences. So this is a great object lesson in confirmation bias. When people see information that affirms their existing views or beliefs, they tend not to scrutinize them. They tend not to be as critical with them and tend to share them more quickly. So that helped these two examples of misinformation go viral. Here's a picture of Ron Johnson, who's the head of the Missouri State Highway Patrol, who was put in charge of the situation in Ferguson following the shooting after the Ferguson police chief was asked to kind of relinquish head control, lead control of the situation. So this is Ron Johnson with a fraternity brother showing a fraternity symbol, and this got wrapped in an assertion about how Ron Johnson is actually flashing gang signs. So this is also not true. Here's an image of a random police officer that someone at least purporting to be affiliated with the group Anonymous circulated, saying that they had released, they had actually located the police officer who shot Michael Brown. This was before the Ferguson police released Darren Wilson's name. And Anonymous got this wrong. So you see here the St. Louis County PD tweeting back to this user that Brian Willman is not an officer in Ferguson and is not the person who was involved in the Michael Brown shooting, and asking them not to release any more information about this random person. And then from another account purportedly affiliated with Anonymous, they actually correct the record and apologized, which is an interesting move. So this is a great example of a lot of different news literacy learning targets for your students. It's an example of how the truth in a breaking news environment is often very slippery, very provisional, that a lot of misinformation surfaces in a breaking news environment. This would be an example of that. Anonymous is not a news organization. They did not have standards to verify this information, and it was unverified. And people were looking for answers. They were eager for something, and this got picked up very broadly on social media and then reasonably quickly debunked. But you could have a great conversation about the importance of correcting the record, the importance of correcting mistakes, but also the insufficiency of correcting mistakes to some degree. So a certain number of people who saw the original post are not going to see the correction, and so the stakes are very serious for misinformation. So these are all examples of actual pieces of information or images of actual people that were wrapped in a false context. So this is sort of a classic contextomy, or taking these out of context and putting them in a false context. It also works the other way around. You can fabricate a piece of news. This is actually a piece from a satirical website that got picked up and believed mistakenly by a number of people that George Zimmerman went to Ferguson in the aftermath of the shooting. That is not true. The Gateway pundit, Jim Hoft, posted a report that used this image you see of an X-ray of an orbital blowout fracture, asserting that Darren Wilson, the officer, that he had proof that the officer suffered a fracture to his face, which of course he did not. This is not an X-ray of Darren Wilson. And so these are really fake or unsubstantiated pieces of information that were given a kind of viral life by being dropped into an actual context in an interesting way. If you use these in the classroom, like any News Lit Bit, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Facebook. You can tweet at us. You can tweet at me. You can also find us on Google+. Thanks for listening, and hope to see you again.